Hello and welcome to Record Store Day 2026 and True Audiophiles. Glad you could join me today, and basically going to be talking about the records that I picked up on Record Store Day and maybe a little bit about the day itself. The store I go to doesn't really do much in terms of fanfare or anything like that, but what I did find pretty interesting is I expected it to be pretty busy because of a lot of mainstream releases or mainstream artists, popular artists that were releasing things, people like Taylor Swift and Charlie XCX and K-pop Demon Hunters and stuff like that. And I was right. I'll try to remember to post a picture on this video to show the end of the line that I had from my store, keeping in mind my store that I go to, it's Newbury Comics. I don't know if you can see the shirt, but they generally get about, like on an average record store day, they'll have 50 to 75 people in line. A good day, a really good day is like 100. They definitely topped that this year. I don't know the actual numbers, but it was definitely the longest line I've ever seen for a record store day there. So I have to imagine that it's going to be a pretty big success this year, and hopefully you've went to get your records. Hopefully you got everything you wanted. It sounds like there were very few titles that were short pressed that were in high demand that I'm aware of anyways, but if you know of any that were short pressed that were super high demand that people weren't able to get, let me know in the comments section in this video. So alright, so I'm going to go, and I'm not going to go in any particular order. They're just kind of random in my box. If you watched my video from last week, I kind of went over the stuff that I was thinking about getting. I actually added some stuff to my list, took away some stuff from my list, and if it doesn't go on too long for the video here, I will kind of go over some of the stuff that I didn't get and tell you why, and also some suggestions that of maybe some stuff that I didn't get, but maybe you should if you really wanted to. So let's start off. We'll go with the full 12-inch records, and then I'll go to the couple of singles that I bought. So first up is Bruno Mars collaborations. So this is basically a bunch of stuff that aren't on Bruno Mars albums, but that he's put on other people's albums. There's like the Rosie and him collaboration. There's the Lady Gaga collaboration that he's had, and also the very popular Mark Ronson one as well, Uptown Funk. So that's all on this album. So pretty cool. This is also, as you could probably see, he was a Record Store Day ambassador for this year. So he put this out for this event. All right, next up. This one was one that I added, mainly because I kept looking through stuff and I was just kind of curious and decided to take a look and get some history on it, and kind of surprised I didn't know this already, mainly because I'm a very big fan of one of the artists that is part of this band. And but it's Alcatraz, and it is No Parole for Rock and Roll. What's significant about this is, if you haven't already seen, is Yngwie Malmsteen is the guitarist in this, and I guess this is his first foray into being in bands. I think he was in Steeler maybe, or I know he was in or maybe Racer X, I can't remember, but he was definitely in one of those other bands, and I thought that was the only other band he was in besides doing his solo stuff, but he apparently wrote a lot of the songs on this. This is a kind of a deluxe edition. It actually has a full record of instrumental versions of some of the songs that are on this as well. So got to listen to that a little bit before I bought it, so it sounded pretty interesting, so I've decided to pick it up. Next one up is kind of a cool one. I had never heard of this before. I'm a very, very big Kiss fan, but this apparently was a promo EP that I guess they sent out to record stores back in the 70s, right after Destroyer came out, to kind of promote the tour that Kiss was having. So this is kind of a recreation of that. It's cut at 45 RPM. It's basically got the singles that they released for the Destroyer album. So it's got Beth, Do You Love Me, Flaming Youth, and Detroit Rock City. And the other thing that I really like about this, and I'm a sucker for, is that it is on splatter vinyl. This one is probably one of the less exciting splatter vinyls out there, but as you can see, splatter vinyl, I really do like the label that's on it as well. Kind of cool. It's got the photo of what they used for a poster back in 1976. I remember it well. I remember always kind of wanting that poster, but never got it. So I thought it was pretty cool, but very nice to see, very cool to see that they put it onto this record as well. So I don't know if it came on the original promo copy or not, but so it was nice to see that it's on this though, because it's definitely a favorite image of mine. So there's that one. Next up, this one is kind of a lesser known Black Sabbath album, and it's Seventh Star. Talked about it a little bit on the video that I did before, and this was basically, you know, they specify on here that's featuring Tony Iommi, because I think he was one of the few, if not the only remaining members of Black Sabbath that's even on this. I have it on CD, decided I wanted to pick it up on record as well. Next one up, this one was a tough one for me because I really wasn't sure I wanted to get it. I thought I had it on CD, but I did some research and realized I didn't have it, so I decided I needed to get it. Probably need to find the CD or buy the digital version of it. Maybe there is a box set that this is part of that I might get as well, because I never bought it. Bought all the previous Bowie box sets of his albums, but the one that this is in was the first box set of his that I didn't buy. But anyways, it is excerpts from Outside, and you know, there's a couple of good tracks on it. Heart's Filthy Lesson, and I guess Brian Eno produced this, I believe. Yeah, co-producer Brian Eno on this. So I remember liking this back when it came out, not, you know, as much as some previous Bowie projects that he did, but I must have traded in the CD, so I liked it so little. But anyway, so I got this on vinyl now. To kind of follow up on that, this is a 12-inch single for one of the songs on that album that's on that record too. It's Halo Space Boy. Basically, this has got some remixes that were done by Pet Shop Boys and someone else, I don't remember. But so kind of fun, kind of cool. I don't think I've heard any of those remixes, so be kind of fun to check those out. This one was pretty interesting, and I kind of bought this more of kind of on a whim because I thought it was kind of a cool sounding potential of an album. But basically, it's got John Densmore from The Doors and Chuck D collaborating together, known as Dope, and it's No Country for Old Men. So can't wait to kind of check that one out. I have not heard anything from it. It's kind of a blind purchase there. So this one's kind of interesting. It's John Coltrane, the Tabiri tapes. This is kind of a preview of some of the music that will be on the box set that's coming out later this year. There's basically only 2 tracks, but they're 13 minutes and 11 minutes long. So it's, you know, it's an EP, but it's a pretty good length of a EP. The kind of interesting thing that I saw on here is they give credits for the musicians, but if you see the last 2 musicians, they weren't certain that they were on it. They just assumed they were on it. So, but it looks like it's to celebrate John Coltrane's 100th anniversary, if you will. Basically, he would have been 100 years old if he was alive today. So that was cool. This one, next one, I was hesitant to buy it, but I couldn't let it go because for a couple of reasons. One was it wasn't a terribly priced record for what it was. What it is John Coltrane Quartet. It's the complete concerts from France in 1965 with his quartet that has McCoy Tyner and Elvin Jones and Jimmy Garrison on it as well. It's a 4-record set, and it retails for probably about 65-ish bucks. So that's kind of unheard of on Record Store Day. Usually if you're paying $65, it's for like a double album, sometimes maybe a 3 record set at maximum. So the fact that this was 4 record set for, you know, the $65-ish range is pretty awesome. Hopefully it doesn't sound terrible. It's on a label that I kind of recognize, a European label named Charlie, so looking forward to checking that out. Hopefully I did not get scammed, because if you know my channel at all, you know that for Record Store Day I tend to avoid concerts, especially ones that are, you know, newly uncovered or things like that. And I think this kind of promotes a little bit of that they, you know, thought the tapes were lost forever and they found them or something. So crossing my fingers, because I think it was at least part of it was part of a TV or radio broadcast. So in theory, it might have some decent sound, so hopefully that's the case here. All right, totally switching gears from John Coltrane, we've got the Misfits, Famous Monsters. Really like the Misfits. I think that this is without Danzig, but you know, we'll see. I don't think I've ever heard this one before, so this was sort of kind of bought on a whim, but hopefully I like it. But I do kind of like the color of the vinyl, which is kind of cool too. It's kind of a neon green and purple, so you got kind of mostly neon green on this side and mostly purple on this side. All right, next up. This one I'm kind of intrigued about. I don't think the explanation of how this was taken care of and how this was done was really properly detailed, and I'd be very curious to know if anybody out there that's seeing this knows a little bit more about the process on this. But on the Record Store Day page, it promoted a full analog process on this. So it's basically, it's Weezer 1192. The significance to that is the date of the master tape that this came from, and it's essentially some demos of tracks that were on Weezer's first album, the Blue Album, which is my favorite album of theirs. So, you know, it's got Say It Isn't, Say It Ain't So, Undone, the Sweater Song, and a couple of other songs on here. But the Record Store Day website promoted the fact that it was a completely analog. They remixed it in an analog domain and cut it to vinyl. They didn't come straight out and say that it was cut from analog, straight analog onto record. They made it sound like it was, though, so I don't know. If anybody knows, I'd be curious. It's not a big deal to me. If it sounds good, it doesn't matter what process was used, but that was kind of how it was sort of hyped. But I bought it mainly because I love that album, and I'm very interested to hear what the demo songs sound like on there. So next up, speaking of demos, this one is kind of started out as kind of a demo release, if you will, or demo. It started off as demos for Motorhead's first album. They kind of called it On Parole. It got released in, I think, 1979, and I'm assuming that it was released when Ace of Spades came out and got really popular, so they kind of wanted to kind of cash out on this. And this has basically got a lot of the songs from the first Motorhead album, but recorded with some other musicians other than the original members of Motorhead. This particular version, as you can probably see on here, was remixed by Steven Wilson. I just recently purchased the CD box set of this, and it had a Blu-ray that had the high-resolution digital version on it as well. And I compared it to the original version I had of On Parole, and it was a significant upgrade in sound quality. I thought it sounded really good. I mean, it's not going to be audiophile still, but it's still very, very good. Again, remixed by Steven Wilson, so this one is basically the vinyl that was taken from the new CD box set, CD Blu-ray box set of this, because there's also a Dolby Atmos mix and a surround sound mix, and then this new stereo mix on that Blu-ray also. So all right, next one up. One that it goes to the point that I've made before, that I make some occasional exceptions to buying these live, you know, newly unleashed or newly found releases. And I don't know a whole lot about this particular release, but it's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live at the Paradise Rock Club in Boston, Massachusetts in 1978. Biggest reason why I bought this, beyond the fact that I'm a huge Tom Petty fan, is the fact that I've actually gone to several concerts at the Paradise. I guess some of the more notable ones I've gone to is I've seen Cheap Trick there. I actually saw Alanis Morissette there right when her Jagged Little Pill album blew up and exploded, and you know, I got the tickets before her album got super big, and she started moving her concerts to arenas instead, and the tickets for that show were being scalped for super high bucks, but I got to go see it, and it was an awesome experience. But anyways, I digressed a little bit, but so I've got a little special place in my heart for this because it's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and because it's done at the Paradise, which is a club that I really like in Boston. So I look forward to hearing this. Hopefully it doesn't sound bad. Oh, one thing that I was putting this away and meant to show. It also kind of cool. It comes with a replica backstage pass as well, which was kind of fun. So, got that. Next up. Yes. Porcupine Tree, We Lost the Skyline. Another one that I actually mentioned this on my last video is another one of those live. This one sort of kind of was previously released, but it was released much later. But basically this was a recording of a acoustic set that was done on a record store day back in, I think it's 2007 if I'm not mistaken, at a record store that I go to in Florida when I go down there for business in Orlando, called Park Avenue CD, which you can see there. They sell a lot, probably more records than they do CDs, although they have a good CD selection as well. But definitely a cool store. So again, another one that's got a special place in my heart because it's Steven Wilson, because it's Porcupine Tree, and because it's Park Avenue CDs where they performed that. So cool one to check out. Next one. This one was one that I didn't mention and talk about on my last kind of review or preview of Record Store Day, because I didn't really know about it, and I kind of dug into it a little bit, and I was very curious. I don't really know much of the music on here. I just know that it's hardcore punk, but it's basically the soundtrack to the documentary Salad Days, which is basically about the hardcore scene in Washington, D.C., and I think the late 70s and early 80s maybe. But the only band I really recognized is Bad Brains on here, although they're labeled as HR on this, as you can probably see from here. This one was limited to like 1,000 copies, so it's going to be pretty limited, and you know, maybe it'll be valuable. I don't know, but I'm hoping I really like it. I really love hardcore. I just don't know a lot about the bands themselves, but every hardcore release I've ever purchased or listened to, I've really enjoyed. So I'm expecting that that'll be the same case with this one. All right, next one up. One of the biggest reasons why I was excited about Record Store Day, this one and the next release, because it's essentially from the same artist, but this one is Sugar. It's basically File Under Easy Listening, the singles collection. It's basically 3 12-inch singles with a few bonus or tracks that weren't available on the album on each one of these 3 12-inch singles. I have the CD versions of these, but because I love, this is probably my favorite era of Bob Mould, is this particular album by him. So I really had a hard time passing this one up, and really excited to have a vinyl version of each of these. They also are color vinyl. They're kind of color coordinated to the covers, which was kind of cool as well. Staying in the vein of Bob Mould, this one is a 20th anniversary edition of Body of Song. It's a kind of a deluxe edition, which has a few bonus tracks on it as well. And it's really an album that I do like. I haven't listened to it in a while, though, quite frankly, so kind of ashamed to say that. But very excited to revisit this now, and it's on a pretty cool, almost like a sunburst, if you will, kind of a color to the vinyl, which is nice. I really like that, and it's actually got nice quality inner sleeves with a liner on them, which is kind of cool. So this one was probably the one I was probably the most excited for this year, mainly because I know that it's supposedly there was only 900 of these made, so the fact that I was able to get one is pretty awesome. All right, we're on the kind of on the home stretch. Next one, this one's going to be an interesting one, and I don't know what to think about it yet, so maybe I'll come back and let you know, but I am a pretty big fan of Waylon Jennings. I'm also, as a young kid, I was a very big fan of the Dukes of Hazzard. So he did the music for the Dukes of Hazzard TV series, including the title, the intro song, you know, the intro to the show every week. And this has basically got some outtakes and things like that, but it's essentially the music that they kind of had as background music for the show. It sounds to me like it's probably all instrumentals, which is fine because I think it sounds like there's some pretty good performers on here, and really looking to see and pretty interested in hearing what this sounds like. I'm guessing it probably isn't of the highest fidelity, but I think again more of a sentimental thing for me because I really loved the show and I really like Waylon Jennings, so kind of cool. All right, the next one is Haim, I believe it's Haim, Relationship EP. Don't know a whole lot about this one, but I like Haim, so I decided I want to check that one out. Last of the 12-inch discs or records that I bought today is, and I might be butchering this name completely, so if I do, and for those of you who may be fans of him, I apologize, but it's Zenny Jiva and Steve Albini. Now, for those of you who know the name Steve Albini but aren't sure of who it is, he's best known for being a producer and sometimes a sound engineer for some pretty popular 90s albums. The biggest one is Nirvana, In Utero. And he's also done Pixies, Surfer Rosa, and a lot of other stuff. Surfer Rosa basically got him on the map, and then that was why Nirvana wanted him to produce their albums, and then once he produced Nirvana, he started just doing a whole bunch of stuff. But he's also lesser known, but I know him more from his days as a part of a band, Big Black. He's also was in Rape Men, and there was a couple of other side projects he did. The name of the other one is escaping me, old man syndrome here. But this one was pretty interesting. I did a little bit of research before I bought it, and I didn't mention this on my preview before because I was not really aware of it. For some reason, I missed the Steve Albini part because he's one of my favorites of all times. But apparently the Zenny Jiva is some sort of like a avant-garde metal progressive Japanese musician, and him and Steve Albini got together. I don't remember when this was, but they got together and did some music, and that's what this is. It's a collection of all their stuff that they've done, and I did listen to this before I bought it. It sounds pretty interesting. It's a little out there, a little avant-garde. For those of you who may know, I'm maybe going a little deep here, but if you know John Zorn, apparently Zenny Jiva has worked with him, and John Zorn is he's just way out there. I mean, he does just all kinds of different types of stuff. He's worked with Mike Patton from Faith No More and several other people, but this one sounded really interesting. I was really wanted to get that and check that out just because of what I kind of heard from it and the fact that Steve Albini was a big part of it. So, all right, next up are my last three titles. They're all 7-inch singles. First one is Dropkick Murphys and the Outlets. The Outlets were a early 80s Boston band, and basically I learned about this by reading the insert that came with this, but apparently there are the Barton brothers who are in the band The Outlets, basically are the older brothers of the guitarist for Dropkick Murphys, Rick Barton. So anyways, they basically, it's Knock Me Down, and it's done by The Outlets and then Dropkick Murphys. It looks like about 20 years later, so it's 1980 and then 2000. So really can't wait to check this out, because I really like Dropkick Murphys, and I'm really interested in the outlets. I'd really never heard of them, even though I lived in Boston around the time frame that they were around, and I just didn't know much about them. So apparently one of the guys in the outlets went on to play with a later version of Gang Green and did a couple albums with them. So anyways, that was that. Next one is, I think, probably one of the coolest looking releases from this year, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it justice, just because it's probably going to need to be have a light shine through it from the back. But it's Charli XCX, Party for You. It's clear vinyl. It's got an etched side on it, so when you basically shine a light through it, which I'm going to do right now, and I wish I could do that for you. Maybe I'll take a picture of it with a light shining through it, but basically you'll see it says, make sure I have it right. Yeah, so it says Party for You on this side of the etching, and on this side it says Charli XCX, and that's etched on the record. And then, as you can see, the picture on the front is a transparent picture of Charli XCX. This is a song from the album that she released during COVID. Thought it was a pretty interesting one. It grew on me. I didn't originally like it that much, because it was a pretty big departure from her previous stuff that I liked a lot. So, but good album, good song, great packaging on that one, so pretty cool. The last one is probably the one that is gonna by far outsell likely any of the other titles that got released today, and it's probably a big reason why there was such a huge line at my store anyways, and probably a lot of the stores in the United States, and that's Taylor Swift's Elizabeth Taylor 7-inch single that got released. It was kind of a late addition to the record store day. What's really cool from a visual aspect anyways, and she's done this with a lot of her recent releases, is it's on a purple glitter splatter vinyl. Looks very, very cool. I love splatter. I think the glitter looks cool. The drawback that I've had to that, though, is that you can actually hear the glitter if you listen close when you play it back. So that's the drawback. But anyway, that is everything I got. Quite a bit. More than I was initially anticipating, but I decided to kind of go all out, and there's still some things I didn't get. Couple of things I want to kind of make a shout outs of, a couple of things that I know of for certain, that if you're fans of these artists, you should go and grab these. I didn't, but I'll explain why in a little bit. But first one is a Talking Heads CBS Columbia Demos record, cut by Joe Nino Hearns. He's my favorite cutting engineer, so I think that it's going to sound really, really good. I already just recently bought the high resolution box set of that, so I have the digital versions of those already. So given how many other records I wanted, I had to kind of put that on a back burner. I may still end up getting it if it's still available in a couple of weeks, but I kind of passed on that for today. The next one up that I want to take a shout out about is, and I talked about this on my last video, is Bruce Springsteen's Live in Asbury Park, and I think it's 2024, I believe. That's another one that was cut by Joe Nino Hearns. I actually got to listen to a small snippet of that release, and it sounded really good. I didn't get it because I think it was a 4-record set, and it was about retails for like $100-ish bucks, and I still may end up getting it because one of the other things that I found out today, and I was still tempted to get it but I decided to hold back, was that it was actually pressed at Fidelity Pressing, I believe. So that's a good combo, Joe Nino Hearns and Fidelity Pressing. If you aren't familiar with Fidelity Pressing, it's basically the plant where they press all of the Mobile Fidelity records, and I have yet to get a bad pressing from that plant. So it's basically an audiophile release, and it's probably worth the money if you're a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. It's gonna sound really, really good. I just know because of Joe's reputation and the fact that it was pressed at Fidelity pressings. You know, there's also some Grateful Dead that came out. There's also there's a Pink Floyd live album that I kind of was hesitant to buy for the same reasons as I didn't buy the Bruce Springsteen, and then I completely got shut off. I was not tempted at all to get it when I saw it in a master carton from Memphis Pressing. You know, Memphis Record Pressing, which they're probably my least favorite pressing plant. I rarely get a really good pressing from them, so even more of a reason why I didn't want to get it. So, but there was a CD. I probably should have got the CD, but I might still end up getting that. So I don't know, but anyway, let me know what you guys got. I'd love to hear what drove you to Record Store Day if you got stuff. Don't really want to hear too much from those that say, you know, Record Store Day is a scam. I don't want to, you know, I never want to go and do that. And, you know, I don't want to hear any of the negativity. I just want to hear the positive stuff and, you know, what you were excited about, what you got. Let me know if there were any shortages that you just weren't able to get because it ran out. Any of that kind of stuff, leave in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And let me know your thoughts. So that's everything for this episode. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing if you subscribe. If you don't, I'd love to see new subscribers. So if you want to hit that subscribe button, that'd be awesome. But anyway, that's everything. I want you to have yourself a good rest of the Record Store Day and a great rest of your week. Thanks a lot.